Hello students, welcome back. Today I am Anuradha from DPS Lomani Ramachar going to start another topic of the chapter the cell, the unit of life. Okay, so here in this chapter what we are going to study is that what do you mean by cell? As the chapter name is the unit of life. You know that every thing has some unit. So if we'll talk about the life, so life having that basic unit, that basic unit is what? It is the cell. So in the previous classes, you must have studied something about the cell. What is the cell and how we are having different types of structure of cells. Okay, so here we will start with the definition of cell and how we can classify these cell into different types. Okay, if you will recall your the previous chapter, in previous chapter what we have done that on the basis of their organization. Okay, these cell can be the basic of anything, or we can say that it is the level of organization which decides that what type of organism it will be. Okay, if we will recall the classification, in the biological classification we have done that there are Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, and another one is the Animalia. Right? So we have done these things. So on the basis of the level of organization, we have done different characteristics. On the basis of that particular characteristics, we have divided these into 5 kingdoms. Okay. So here in Monera Protista, they are what? They are the unicellular. Okay. It means that they are having only one cell. And if we will talk about this Fungi, Plantae, Animalia, all these 3 comes under what? These 3 comes under the multicellular organism. Okay, so on the basis of this thing, on the basis of their organization, we have classified into 2 types, unicellular as well as multicellular. Okay, so this can be one of the classification of cell. Now, on the basis of their origin, again we have given another classification of cell, that is prokaryotic cell and the eukaryotic cell. So now what is this prokaryotic cell? Pro means something which is primitive. Okay, they are having some primitive structure. And if we will talk about the eukaryotic, so eukaryotic, they are having the true nucleus, or they are the we can say advanced form. So here these monerans, okay, these monera consist of what? It consists of the bacteria. Most of the bacteria comes under which of the kingdom? That is the monera. Okay, so these monerans are what? These are the prokaryotic. And if we move towards Protista, Fungi, Plantae, Animalia, what you are observing here? These are the eukaryotic. What are they? This is the prokaryotic, right? And this one is the eukaryotic. Okay, these are the primitive one and these are the advanced one. And eukaryotic again divided into 2 types. They can be unicellular and they can be multicellular. The example of unicellular, Protista, and these Fungi, Plantae, and Animalia, these are the example of the multicellular organism. Right here. So here we have used which of the thing or which of the character? The cell character. Okay. So how can you say that anything it is a cell? There should be a proper criteria to said that it is a cell. So these 2 are the criteria which decides that something it is a cell. Okay, otherwise if any one of the thing which will not follow these 2 parameters, they will not fulfill the criteria of the cell. Right? So here the first thing that is written here, independent existence. Okay, what do you mean by independent? It means that it is having ability to exist independently. Okay, if you will talk about the monerans, if you will talk about the Protista, they are what? They are the unicellular. Okay, still if you will take the example of amoeba, amoeba is a unicellular organism. Okay, still is having ability to live independently. Okay, they can exist independently. So we can say that anything which can exist independently, it can be the cell. Whether it can be unicellular or it may be multicellular, both follows the same parameter. Right here. Another one is the performing essential functions of life. Okay. Another important thing, any individual, any living organism which can perform its functioning of the body, or we can say metabolic activity by itself, these can be the cell. Now again, if we take the example of amoeba, it is having all the cell functioning inside this single cell. Okay, we know that in case of multicellular, if we take the plantae animalia, they are having the proper characters, they are having proper thing to function their body, but still in case of unicellular also, they are having good functioning capacity. Okay, that's why we are saying this amoeba is what? This is a cell, because it can function its metabolism very efficiently. We know that ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, all these steps follows in unicellular organisms also, right? So two main characteristics which can define any of the cell. Okay, now I will take one example, virus here. We all know that virus is what? Virus is a non-living. What it is? It is a non-living, or when it will enter into the host body, it will become the living one. So can we say that virus is a cell? No. Okay, when it will enter inside the body, then only it will be able to reproduce itself. It will use the machinery of the living organism to reproduce or to grow. Okay, unless and until if it is outside any host body, or if it is present outside, it is a non-living and it is not following these two steps. Or we can say this virus is not following the two criteria of being the cell, right? They don't have any existence there, they don't have any functioning for their life. Okay, so here some of the scientists came here, which we will study that what was the historical background of this cell. Okay, how we do come to know that from where the cell is coming, or what are the different scientists gave their contribution towards the cell. Okay, so one by one, the first scientist, here we are talking about somehow 1600th century. Okay, we are talking about the 1600th century. In that time, the scientist, or we can say that one of the person comes here, that is known as the Robert Hooke. Okay, so what he did, he observed the cell. What he did, he observed the cell, but where? In the dead tissue. Okay, we can say that dead cell. He observed the dead cell, that is the cork. Okay, and this cork is present where? In the plant. So they or we can say he took the slices of the plant and showed that they are having some compartment like structure. Okay, this compartment like structure they have observed. So when they have observed this type of structure, what do you call it? Cellula. Okay, in languages these are somehow compartment like structure, and from here only it got its name, the cell. Okay, cell means, or the cella means the small compartments, right here. Then another one which came here, the Anton von Leeuwenhoek. Okay, Anton von Leeuwenhoek, again he observed the cell. He observed the cell, but when? In the live cell, or we can say he observed the living cell. Living cell means he took some of the plaque, okay, which is present in the mouth, as well as some of the organisms of the pond water, and placed under the microscope, and he observed that these are what? These are like animals, like organisms. Okay, so we can say that Anton von Leeuwenhoek has observed the living cell, but here the Robert Hooke observed the dead cell. Right? You must know about these contributions. Now come to the Robert Brown. Okay. Now we till here we know that cell is there. Okay. So what type of cell or what is present inside the cell? This nucleus. Okay. Nucleus has been observed by the Robert Brown. Where? In the cell. So in any cell, nucleus is observed by whom? By the Robert Brown. Right here. Then we 3 scientists were there in about 1600th century. Now in somehow in 1800th century, again there were some scientists and who gave some theory, and one of the theory is the cell theory. What it is? Cell theory. And this cell theory was given by 2 scientists. Okay, both the scientists did their work separately, but their results are somehow same, and after combining these 2 results, they gave the cell theory. Right? So who are the scientists here? Sheldon and Swan. Okay, now this can be the question for the MCQ, that who are the scientists who has contributed to give the cell theory. So in 1838 and 1839, both of them did their experiment separately, or they have given the same results, and Sheldon and Swan. So if you will talk about this Sheldon, he was the botanist. Okay, we know that what is the meaning of botanist and what is the meaning of zoologist, and the person which are related to the botany, or the person which are related to the zoology, they are known as botanist as well as zoologist respectively. Right? So botanist means somehow they did their experiment in the plants, okay, and they did their experiment in animals. So in case of plant or animals, they observed some of the characters, and on the basis of that they gave the cell theory. Now the question arises that what is the cell theory? What it says? So according to the cell theory, as this Sheldon said about the plant and Swan said about the animals. So both of the plants as well as animals are made up of the cells. Right? So they both have given the same result. And now what are the more things which they have said? They have said about the cell in plants as well as in animals. So while doing their research, he gave some more some inferences, like they said that there will be some outer membrane. For example, this is a cell. Okay, this is any cell. So the outer membrane is thin. Some thin membrane is there, and this thin membrane nowadays we know that what it is, plasma membrane. Okay, but that time they were not aware about that particular term, but yes, they said there is some thin layer is present outside the cell. Right here. So nowadays what we are saying, plasma membrane. Okay, and they also observed that if you will talk about the plant cell and the animal cell, they are having some difference. What is the difference? In case of plant, there is some more layer outside this membrane. What they call the cell wall. Right? Some membrane is present, and outside this membrane, if we will talk specifically about the plant cell, they are having the cell wall. Right here, and this point is common for both the plant cell as well as the animal cell, that both are made up of what? They are made up of the cells. Okay, but what about the cell theory? According to the cell theory, they given that how these cells looks like. Okay, but they were not able to give any idea that how these cells are forming. They worked upon the we can say existing cell, but they have not given any idea about the forming of cell. So here this is the thing which we have to understand, that the cell theory was not able to explain the cell's formation, how the cell is forming. So for that, one of the scientists came here. Again important for the examination point of view, this date as well as this scientist. Okay, so the Rudolf Virchow in 1855, very important, gave, or we can say expanded the cell theory. Okay, what he did, he expanded this cell theory and added one of the term, that is omnis cellulo cellula. Okay, so now what is the meaning of this omnis cellulo cellula? Is that any cell is formed by the pre-existing cell, right? So any of the cell which is forming today here, which is forming a new one, they are forming from the pre-existing cell, and this term is what? Omnis cellulo cellula. So now in the cell theory we are having 2 points. What are they? That all the plants and the animal cells are made up of cells, and these cells which are forming, they are forming from the pre-existing cell. Right here, they are forming from the pre-existing cell. So now here we will discuss about the overview of cell. What type of cell we are talking about. So here if you will see any of the cell, whether it is a plant cell or the animal cell, or we can see the prokaryotic as well as the eukaryotic cell. So here I am writing prokaryotic, and another one can be the eukaryotic cell. As we have said, these are the primitive one and these are the advanced one. Okay, so in this prokaryotic cell, most of the things which comes here, the bacteria. Okay, and these bacteria, if we will take the example of this cell here, this bacterial cell, as well as if you will take the example of any of the animal cell or the plant cell. Okay, I'm not drawing that much diagram, just to make you understand that what happens in these two types of cell. So in this prokaryotic cell, if you will talk about the cell wall is present. Yes, cell wall is present here. Okay, and this cell wall is made up of what? It is made up of the glycocalyx, right? We have done this thing in the earlier chapter also. If you will talk about the eukaryotic cell, in the eukaryotic cell, there may be two conditions. The cell wall can be there, cell wall may be present, or cell wall may be absent, right? And what are the examples? If you will talk about the cell wall is present, it present in case of plants. Cell wall is absent in case of animals. Okay, as well as in case of fungi also, cell wall is present. This can be the another example. So in prokaryotic, there is one example, that is bacteria, which is having the cell wall. Okay, it is having the cell wall. But here it may be present or it may be absent. So first thing we will study about the cell wall in the prokaryotic as well as eukaryotic, and what is the function of the cell wall? To give protection to the membrane. Right here, now comes to the membrane here. Membrane is what? The membrane is which is surrounding the cell. For example, if I said this is a cell wall, inside this there is a membrane. And what you are saying, this one? Plasma membrane. What you are saying? Plasma membrane. So here also the plasma membrane is common, which is present both in prokaryotic as well as in eukaryotic. In prokaryotic, in plant cell also, in case of animal cell also. Okay, so we will discuss about the membrane also, what is the function in a very detailed form. Now if you will go inside more, you can see that cytoplasm is present. What is there? Cytoplasm is present. Now this cytoplasm is what? It is the arena of the metabolism. Okay, whatever the metabolic activity occurs inside the cell, this occur where? In the cytoplasm. So whether it is a prokaryotic or the eukaryotic, cytoplasm is present. Okay, cytoplasm is present. It is a fluid-like structure in which all the cell organelles are present. Okay, so cytoplasm is what? In which all the metabolic activity or the functioning of cell takes place. Now comes to this another one, nucleus. Okay, inside this one, in the cytoplasm, you can see nucleus. But now in case of prokaryotic, the nucleus is not defined. What is there? The nucleus is not defined. Only we can say somehow nucleus type of structure, but not the distinct one. But if you talk about the eukaryotic, there is a proper defined nucleus. Okay, so nucleus is present in case of eukaryotic cell, while in case of prokaryotic cell, nucleus is not defined. Okay, now this nucleus is what? Membranous structure. Inside this nucleus, you can see the chromosomes. We know that the genetic material is present where? Inside the nucleus, and in this chromosome, the chromatin fibers are present in which DNA is present. Right? So the genetic material is present inside this nucleus. Now when you will talk about this prokaryotic, okay, when you will talk about this prokaryotic, genetic material is somehow scattered in the cytoplasm, and how it will appear? It will appear like the rounded like structure. Okay, or we can say circular chromosome in case of prokaryotic, while in case of this one, it is present in the rod shaped. Okay, now when we are talking about the nucleus, we have done this thing. After that, some organelles are present in prokaryotic as well as eukaryotic. But in case of eukaryotic, the cell organelles are what? They are having the membrane bound cell organelles. Okay, but in case of prokaryotic, there will be no membrane bound organelles. For example, if we will talk about different organelles which is present in this eukaryotic, all they are having membrane. All they are having membrane. Examples are endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, so this endoplasmic reticulum starts from where? From the nucleus, like this. Okay, from here you can see the endoplasmic reticulum. Then some of the Golgi bodies are also there. Okay, Golgi bodies are there, and mitochondria are also present. Okay, mitochondria are also present here, and some more structure, right? These macrobodies, vacuoles, all these are present. When we talk about the eukaryotic, whatever the organelles which is present inside this one, all they are having membrane. But here the organelles which is present in this prokaryotic, they are not having any kind of membrane. So they are having what type of organelle? Non-membrane bound organelle. And what is the example of this non-membrane bound organelle? That is, one of the example is ribosomes. Okay, so ribosomes are common for both prokaryotic as well as eukaryotic cell, because these ribosomes are present in prokaryotic cell as well as the eukaryotic cell. As this ribosome is non-membrane bound organelle. Okay, ribosome don't have any type of membrane. If you will see the structure of ribosome, we know that it is somehow this type of structure, larger unit and the smaller subunit, and same these are present here also. If you will talk about the rough endoplasmic reticulum, in rough endoplasmic reticulum, you can see that these ribosomes are present like this. And due to that, endoplasmic reticulum can be two types. What are they? RER, in which ribosomes are present, and here that is smooth endoplasmic reticulum, in which ribosomes are absent. Okay, we will discuss all these things in a detail one by one when we are talking about the organelles. Here we are talking about the general thing which is present in the prokaryotic as well as in the eukaryotic. Okay, and here, as I have said, this prokaryotic cell also needs some metabolism. Okay, it will also replicate. So here these ribosomes, what is the function of ribosomes then? Ribosomes help in the protein synthesis. Okay, both in prokaryotic as well as in the eukaryotic cell, right? So we have done this thing also, that ribosome having no membrane, and that's why it is present in the prokaryotic cell. Okay, now there are some of the organelles. What are they? Mitochondria and this chloroplast. These two organelles are also known as semi-autonomous organelle. Okay, what you will call these two? semi-autonomous because they are having proper cell, and inside this chloroplast as well as in mitochondria they are having ribosome. So ribosomes are present in the prokaryotic cell as well as in the chloroplast as well as in the mitochondria and in the rough endoplasmic reticulum also. Okay, and out of them we can say that chloroplast and mitochondria, they are the semi-autonomous because they are acting like a cell but they are not fully cell. Okay, now why it is not a cell? As we have said that there should be an independent existence. Okay, they are not showing independently existence, that's why they are not complete cell, they are the semi-autonomous. Now the centrosome. Centrosome, what is another organelle which is having no membrane? Okay, along with ribosome. Ribosome is one of them which is having no membrane, and another example is centrosome. Okay, centrosome is present in animals and it is the function of the centrosome is division. Okay, so it decides the how the division takes place in case of animals. So this is a non-membranous bound organelles which is present in animals. Okay, so here today we have talked about the introduction part of cell and how we will categorize these two cells, and in the further lectures we will come to know that what is prokaryotic in a detailed form, what are the different parts, and in case of eukaryotic we will discuss about the plant cell as well as animal cell separately. Okay, now some important facts which is given in your NCERT and you must have to go through it because these are important from the examination point of view. The first one is the smallest cell. What is the smallest cell? We are saying cell is what? Which is having its existence. Okay, so every cell having some membrane. Okay, and the bacteria which we are saying these are a primitive one. What is that thing which is smaller than this bacteria? Okay, we cannot say virus is a smaller than bacteria. Why? Because virus is not a cell. So when the question will be smallest cell, so what it will be? Mycoplasma. Mycoplasma is also known as PPLO. Okay, pleuropneumonia-like organism. And if you will see this mycoplasma, it can change, it can vary their shapes. Okay, it can change their shapes, and this is formed of what? This is formed of only membrane. There is no cell wall. But if we will talk about the bacteria, they are having cell wall. Okay, so bacteria is somehow 5 to 7 micrometer in length, but these mycoplasma are even smaller than this bacteria. Okay, and what can be the length here? 0.3 micrometer. Okay, and if we talk about this largest cell, which one the isolated cell. Okay, so and this cell is a single cell. So what it will be? It will be the ostrich egg, the egg of ostrich. It is the largest cell or the largest single cell. Now if we will talk about the multicellular, because we human beings are what? Multicellular. So the RBC or the red blood cell which is present in our body, they are the one having 7 micrometer diameter. Okay, now longest cell, largest means that they are large in size, but when we are talking about the longest, it means that the length is very long. Okay, so we can say the nerve cells, which is extending from our head to the toe. Okay, so what it is forming? It is forming the longest cell, and this is the nervous cell. Right here. So these are some important points for the MCQ here, and in the next session we will study in more detail here. That's all for today. Thank you.